In 1963, a man in central Turkey knocked down a wall in his basement during renovations. Behind it was a tunnel. The tunnel led to a room, the room to a stairway, and the stairway down into the dark, 18 stories down. He had broken into a complete underground city, large enough to shelter 20,000 people, that had been sealed and forgotten beneath his village. This is Derinkuyu. The region already whispered its secret. Cappadocia's soft volcanic rock is honeycombed with cave homes, and locals told stories of chickens that slipped into cracks in cellar floors and never came back. But nobody imagined what the anonymous homeowner found: passages descending 85 meters below the surface, a vertical labyrinth deeper than a 20-story building is tall. As archaeologists mapped it, the scale kept expanding. Living quarters and kitchens, stables for livestock underground, wine presses, oil presses, storage halls, a school with a vaulted ceiling, chapels, even a burial chamber. More than 50 ventilation shafts fed fresh air to the deepest levels, and interior wells meant the city could drink without ever touching the surface. The architecture is openly military. At choke points throughout the complex sit massive circular stone doors, half-tonne discs, rolled across the passage from the inside, with a small hole in the center for spears or arrows. The corridors were deliberately cut low and narrow, forcing invaders to stoop, single file, into the dark, toward defenders who knew every turn. The oldest levels may date to the Phrygians, nearly 3,000 years ago. The Hittites are sometimes credited with the first cellars earlier still. But it was Byzantine Christians, from roughly the 7th century onward, who expanded it into a true city, carving crosses and chapels into the deep rock while empires collided overhead. Because that is what Derinkuyu was for, surviving the surface. Cappadocia sat on the raiding frontier between Byzantium and the Arab caliphates for centuries. When war bands swept through, entire communities descended with their animals, rolled the stones shut, and lived by lamplight, venting their cooking smoke through shafts that scattered it far from the hidden entrances. The city wasn't a refuge of last resort, it was a routine. And Derinkuyu is not alone. A tunnel, kilometers long, is believed to link it toward Kaymakli, the next underground city, wide enough for 3 people abreast. Across Cappadocia, researchers count more than 200 underground settlements of at least 2 stories, perhaps 40 of 3 or more. An entire parallel civilization built downward. Life inside stretches the imagination. Thousands of people in permanent night, weeks at a time, children in the schoolroom, animals shifting in the stone stables, the smell of oil lamps and bread, prayers echoing in a chapel 5 floors beneath the fields. It worked because the temperature never moves, a constant 13 degrees, summer sieges or winter storms alike. Here is the strangest part. The city never entirely left living memory. Cappadocian Greek communities still used the tunnels as refuges into the 20th century, until the population exchange of 1923 removed them to Greece. The entrances were sealed, the knowledge left with the exiles, and within 1 generation Derinkuyu was so forgotten that a man had to find it with a sledgehammer. Today you can descend 8 levels as a tourist, the rest stays closed, and much may still be unexcavated. In 2013, demolition work in nearby Nevşehir exposed yet another underground city, possibly larger still, which leaves a fine question for the age of satellites. How many complete cities are still down there, behind some wall, waiting for a renovation? Subscribe for more of the world hidden underfoot.